Stream Elements said the busy builder is now live, streaming miniatures.
Hello.
RS_Studios said hi.
How you doing? Just getting the base green on before we start doing the camouflage for the uniforms. Don't like where the skin tone was heading, so we're going to redo the faces too. How is Starfield? And why the renewed interest in that game anyway? Did you install the Star Wars mod or something?
Wallace 1396 asks Gotcha. Gotta get that nice green base before you put the camo blotches on, eh?
Yeah.
RS_Studios said I will once it's more fleshed out. RS_Studios said besides, it's a good game.
I've heard too much about it that I'm really not interested in it. I used to be able to do RPGs, not so much anymore.
RS_Studios said you're lost then.
Eh. You know me. The more something is really hyped, the less interest I have in it. And yes, Loston, you're right. I'll put it this way, Aries. I've got Cyberpunk 2077 and I've only played it for half an hour.
At Roastin Wallace 1396 said I kind of feel the same way about overhyped movies, games, etc. It kind of just turns me off.
Bingo, which is why I'm not a fan of Marvel. Star Wars no longer interests me. Stranger Things, I gave it a shot up till season 3, then just blech. You know, just the more... Ow. Sorry, I got an itch. The more something gets tossed in my face, the more I don't want to look at it. Especially when it's something like that.
George Davis 7629 said LOL.
Hey George. Got something on the way you might be interested in watching. Not that you're not interested in any of this.
Roastin Wallace 1396 said that, and I've always been an individual. Never need to keep up with the Jones.
Well, with this, Loston, it's more... It's not even keeping up with the Joneses. It was at its peak when Stranger Things first came out, I think. Just... You had everybody talking about it. And you had all these... fake influencers. You know, if you... What was that trailer that dropped recently? Oh, the third Old Republic game. I'm sorry, even big fans don't react like that to the announcement of a new game or a new movie.
At George Davis 7629 said it's better than the Abrams law.
You don't even know what it is.
George Davis 7629 said it's a little cute tank versus a big ugly tank.
It's an FV-432. It's not even a tank. It'll have a full interior. It was a toss-up between that or the Chieftain Mark 11.
At George Davis 7629 said not bad at all.
And it's the original version 432, not the new one with the corrugated armor and all the fancy crap.
exactly what you mean, man. Everything gets driven into the ground these days. You can't escape all these overhyped movies and fan-cheesed products.
You know, that I think that was a typo, but at the same time, it's not wrong. It is a franchise now. The studios don't care whether they're making a good product as long as they're making the fans happy. Looking at the gloves, the way they come up, I think these are the Nomex gloves.
At Loston Wallace 1396 said it wasn't a typo.
Okay, so you agree then that it's more franchise than franchise.
At Loston Wallace 1396 said it's why I put it in quotes.
Okay. I just glanced and I was more listening than reading. But you're right, they are being fan-driven and driven in the wrong way.
Said, hello there, young man.
Hello, my Norwegian friend.
At Loston Wallace 1396 said I've been reading.
Collecting comics.
At Loston Wallace 1396 said Hollywood's take is not for me.
I think the last time Hollyweird got it right was Blade.
At George Davis 7629 said people get hyped just by what they see on social media or what the social scene says rather than if they like the films themselves.
That's a bit to do with it as well. But it almost goes back to that, you know, idea of people like being told what to like.
Said so films like Marvel can just put out slop for a time.
Yeah, and I think they learned recently that that slop doesn't sell anymore. I mean, there is the law of diminishing returns when you're making movies, because you have to... Supposedly, you have to make each one bigger, louder, and badder than the next. Aliens is actually a good example of that. Alien 3 kind of went against the grain, but it also did a lot of other things wrong. But just between Alien and Aliens, that's kind of true. There really isn't any franchise where the next film in line was a bit more reserved and quiet. I'm trying to, and I can't think of one. You could almost say Empire Strikes Back did that. The second one was actually much more... It was impactful, but at the same time, wasn't as action-driven as Episode 4.
Said, talking of which, who's excited for Ice Age 6?
I didn't even know they went past 4. It's like, what are we at? Land Before Time 23 now? John Leguizamo needs to hire an orthodontist.
At Loston Wallace 1396 said the problem with bigger and badder movies is the more extreme you get, the less meaning things have. If it's all peaks and no valleys, I just get bored with it.
Exactly. And that's, I think Michael Bay was making fun of that with his Transformers movies. look at the one with the knights, right? With Unicron coming out of the earth. He was following that storyline. And now he's making the next one in that particular, you know, story arc. The only place he can go is by destroying the earth. There's nothing else he can do. And he knows it. He's dead set on just blowing everything up this time. Literally. It's very cold here today, so my legs hurt. I don't know why I'm concentrating on his feet so much. You're only going to see from here up. Probably just so the pattern's there and continues.
George Davis 7629 said as soon as Unicron got mentioned at the end of one of the previous films, I knew that's the way it was heading.
I wanted it to head that way now, to be honest. Like I said, the films have gotten so fantastically crazy, it really is the only way to go with them. And in this case, that's not a terrible thing, you know, it's not a bad thing. But you also run into, I'm going to call it the Valve problem. Right? Half-Life 1, excellent game. Half-Life 2, even better game. So much so that it overhyped itself. I think Valve is now just going to make Half-Life 3 and say, fuck it. But Gabe Newell wasn't wrong. The hyper...
The model student 20 said, hey everyone. It's great day for figures.
It is.
That's what I'm doing as well. Lol.
The game will never live up to the hype generated around its existence. Right? So for the longest time, he's like, you know what, we're not going to do a Half-Life 3. But then they did Half-Life Alyx. And it worked.
At Loston Wallace 1396 said my Qbert school art instructor, Kim de Mulder, inked the 80s Transformers miniseries for Marvel. That came out about a year before the cartoon and toys made it here.
I remember having those comics. That's what the one with Shockwave on the cover with the Transformers are all dead. Optimus Prime's head gets ripped off and zapped into Spike.
At Loston Wallace 1396 said no model sheets existed for the artists of the comic series.
And that's why in that, yeah, that's the one then, because I remember Ironhide and Ratchet having the windshield faces in it, not they weren't drawn like they were in the series. That miniseries was crazy. Probably not my best.
1396 said yes. You remember the cover well. So these toys were the first to make it to North America, and Kim gave me all of the ones he was given.
The one I always wanted that I never had was the original Shockwave. I've got a model of him from the Bumblebee movie, which is nice, but I never had the original Shockwave. Even as a kid, I liked the mystery around that character. And he wasn't even a Takara Transformer. He was just a generic robot, right? Like Radio Shack sold him? Something like that?
At George Davis 7629 said always want a nice Shockwave and Laserbeak.
So for Laserbeak, I'm actually going to look for some files and print one. That's like this big, you know.
Said original Shockwave was one of the ones I got. All of the mains.
And original Shockwave, if I remember, it was black or dark gray.
I wonder if the live-action Warhammer will be any good. The Gundam RFB series was cool, I thought.
I could care less about the Warhammer live action. Oh, I know Jetfire's origin very well. Some of the first issues of Jetfire still had the Macross kite logo on the wing, because he always had the Autobot symbol on the nose.
Said it's kind of a gray color.
Yeah, like a dark black gray color, yeah. And that's also the problem why we haven't seen a lot of... Hasbro owns the GoBots now, but there's a rights issue with, I think, the designs. So they can't use the designs because of brand competition within the originating companies. So Hasbro owns GoBots and Transformers now. Well, they have for a while. Not my best woodland, but like I said, you're not going to see a lot of it. And I'll give you guys kind of a tour of what I've done on the tank as well. I know some of you were here yesterday and got a quick explanation. I didn't like how the frost effect looked on the tank. It was too dusty, too dry looking. So I mixed together some baking soda, white glue, and water and did it the old way.
1396 said, when I was drawing Battletech books for FASA in the 90s, there were like 30 mechs that were on the no-no list that I couldn't use due to rights issues.
Yep, and even then some of them got in. I remember back in the FASA days, the smaller, more like humans in, yeah, the humans in like power armor were the Valkyries, even though they weren't. There's the Tomahawk that was reused, but then yeah, legislation came down that made it so they couldn't use those designs, and they got kiboshed. So yeah, model student was here.
Student 20 said more realistic, it would melt last on the tank.
So yeah, I added just little drifts of snow here and there. Made sure it stuck onto the soft materials a bit more thoroughly. And I frosted it more. But that combined with the wet look, I think sells it. It works great on the static grass, but not so great on the vehicle.
At the model student 20 said looks cold for sure.
Well, that's why also the driver or the loader and the commander have gloves on too. The driver doesn't even have hands, so we're not worrying about it.
96 said I think that looks more like ice.
Yeah,
Sheen does sell it.
I wanted like a melted, icy look to the snow. Like that's what's left. Like it's gotten soaked and frozen, and just it's there. You'll need a hammer to get it off.
At the model student 20 said maybe cotton breath for the figs and exhaust. Grinning face with sweat emoji.
No, once the exhaust is warmed up, it burns pretty clean. Unless they dump diesel into it, then you're gonna get a lot. And it wouldn't look right regardless. The strands just wouldn't look right. I just like that the wet effect doesn't just look like, oh, he went and just slathered gloss all over it. It's actually got an unevenness about it that really pops back right. That was hair-raising because I'd never done that before the way I did it. And I wasn't about to go buy a $10 bottle of Wet Effects.
The model student 20 said I think AK make a billowing smoke effect for $39.99 rolling on the floor laughing emoji.
I know they sell a singular sheet of that camo netting for $15 to $20 depending on where you buy it. You know, where you can get a 3-pack of all the colors for 15 bucks, so if that doesn't show you their marketing tactic of repackaging other stuff at a higher price, I don't know what does. But just like hype in Hollywood, people see that name, they don't care that, oh, maybe this is made somewhere else cheaper. They just see the name, must spend the money. And the thing is, I didn't even look up what anyone else had done in terms of like how to do it. I knew of the existence of the wet effect, right? I knew how sometimes when I put that stuff by brush over flat paint, it wouldn't actually be glossy. It would be like just, it would look wet, like if a tank was in the rain and it stopped raining and it ran off, you know? It looked like the surface was wet. So I just started thinking about,
629 asks who else makes that app netting.
it's the stuff I got on Amazon for 15 bucks, George. Here, 1 minute. They make it in 35th scale and 16th scale. It's the netting I've been using on all my models lately. It's the exact same material. Shit, the link's too long. Just go to Amazon and type in 135th camo net.
Bay leaves and buoys can make netting. I've seen haven't got around to trying that yet.
Now, the problem is the scale effect, and depending on the era of netting, that can work. Older nets were literally just that. They were sloppy netting with just rags tied to it, like the old Hessian netting that the British used. The stuff I'm talking about is for more modern things. But yeah, for some reason yesterday, it just popped up in my feed, you know, like a 3-year-old video on somebody using that netting, and I'm like, how is it this is just now coming up? And then I noticed it was, you know, so-called brand. So I decided, just out of curiosity, I was on my lunch break, just to look up the price of it. And yeah, I about fell out of my chair, because I'm like, they're really bilking people 3 times the price for the singular sheet when you could get all 3 types for the price of one of theirs from other distributors, the people that make it. People wonder why I don't like the company. But yeah, I can't get you the link, George, because it's too long. It won't show up in chat. But just go to Amazon and type in 1/35 camo netting. It'll show up. It should be one of the first hits.
At the model student 20 said to make your theoretically you only need the cut roller with that wave pattern and the flexible fabric.
Yeah, good fun getting that roller too. But no, you're not wrong. It's just a pre-cut fabric. Before then, people were doing, what they do is they get a piece of brass tubing, half cut it, and then sharpen the edge, and then just punch, 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 and they'd 180 it every punch. I did that for my 16th scale Leopard 2, because said netting didn't exist yet. This is way back. And it looked the part. It was enough for me to put it in the baskets. I didn't do a big batch of it. But it worked. But keep in mind, that's for the modern Barracuda style. Older style stuff, yeah, you have a little bit more leeway. But I was good, and I didn't comment on the guy's video that, you know... Plus, 3 years older, so why would the comment really matter?
Model student 20 said my bud has a die-cut business I am going to inquire. He's fabbed stuff for me before. Might be too expensive though. Thinking face emoji.
I'd at least buy a set of the material so you can take it to him, and then he can look at it. You know? And if he can't do it, you'd at least have the material on hand. I'm gonna paint his dangly little feet here, but I'm gonna keep all my like shadows and highlights above the waist, because there's no real point in wasting more time on the legs. This is essentially the same figure. I cut his legs off, mainly because I was putting him in the loader's hatch and he wouldn't fit right. And then I used the arms from a different figure. It would have been kind of strange having, you know, twin poses in the hatch.
At the model student 20 said, looking great, I love figs with vehicles, it adds so much I think in the build, telling a story.
Well, it adds that human factor. It also gives a better sense of scale. Like, you can get a better read on how big the vehicle is by the fact there's people on it. Where's the...
Yoda 151 just followed.
Thank you for the follow, Yoda.
Justin Wallace 1396 said you can call that figure Lieutenant Dan. Lol.
That means the driver's Forrest. Okay. Let's get a new look going on the faces. The base flesh tone I use just feels too pale. I even tried putting a wash over it. It didn't soak in right and tone it down. It's like, yes, I know it's tankers in Europe in winter. This might be too... that's too light as well. Come here. Go with a basic skin tone. It's a bit warmer. So what should I do with this 432 when we get it? Like I said, it's going to have full interior from the box. The LAVM also arrived today. A bit underwhelmed with it. This will probably be my next open box video. Because I was right.
Mr. Golden B said greetings.
Welcome, Mr. Golden. It does have more of the interior, but it doesn't have the driver's station. It's got the bulkheads that go forward, but it doesn't actually have the seats or control panel. And you can look in and see all the way up there. So in this case, I'm going to be scratch building and adding that. Welcome all the newcomers. Hope you're all having a good day. So it looks like I got 2 more open box videos I gotta make. One for the LAV C2 and another for the LAV M. And once the M60's done, while we're working on the Abrams, I'll try and get the LAV-R a bit more organized. I'm kind of at a stalling point on that. I need to scour some references for ideas. Get those drying. I'm going to try a different wash on it too. But those are going to need a minute still. In the meantime, I did take a moment to clear coat the Abrams to protect the finish. And I had to put the track back on because one of them popped a link. I had to get it lined back up.
At Lowston Wallace 1396 asks, you're doing an FD 432 model?
Yeah, ordered it today, should be here next week. So we're going to work on getting these tracks painted up a little bit. I was hoping I could have found a 434, but nobody makes one, and at least nobody makes one anymore. I think Accurate Armor did, but they no longer exist. 3D printing and new model companies have kind of put them out of business. There's very little left in their catalogs that people hadn't already made kits of. Alright, we're going to throw some black on for the road wheels and the rubber pads on the tracks. We can come back and handle everything else with earth tones for the dirt and rust areas. I'm not worried about the outer edge because, like I said, that'll be covered in the earth tones because that's where the mud, dust, and dirt's really going to collect. Thinking of putting this on a paved surface. Like I said, I've got to go through some references and see what I've got.
At Lowston Wallace 1396 asks thoughts on the color scheme. NATO green, tan, woodland camo, desert camo, winter camo.
For the 432, probably just the good old British green and black. Unless there's an option for Salisbury Plains sand and green, then I might do that. Because you don't see that too much. I'll know more once I have the kit in hand. But the one I ordered is just the basic 432. It's not the one with the upgraded corrugated armor and all that wonderful stuff.
At Lowston Lawless 1396 said the battle bus. Lol.
Yeah, essentially. They're a bugger to steer. You really gotta haul back on those sticks. Yes, I'm being very sloppy with this, but as you can tell from the M60, you don't really have to be too neat, to be honest. As long as most of the colors are in the right spot. I'm getting the broad surfaces now. Then we'll go back and get the thin edge, just making sure it doesn't go over that too much. Getting the outer faces first, here. While this dries, we'll get the other one, then we'll come back, flip it over, do the back side. Then we'll do the outside. It's a little bit more overcomplicated way to go, but it's usually one of the better ways of handling link and length. Is just making them into an assembly like this. You can hide a lot of sins this way. I'll want a bigger brush to do that. I don't know why, but the text-to-speech voice thing sounded really excited when you asked that I was doing a 432. It's like, you're doing a 432? It must be very cold out today. I can feel it in my joints. Yeah, it's almost 2 p.m. and it's only 37 degrees. Holy shit. And that's probably just in the sun. But if I like what I can do with the 432 kit, I might get the Chieftain Mark 11. I figure since I hit my savings quota for the month already, I'd splurge a little bit. So I went and got that, and I also got the Grand Scale Architect on the way. Yeah, it doesn't look right to me without the Stillbrew armor. And until TACOM came along, there's really no injection molded Mark 10 or Mark 11 with the armor. There was the Tamiya kit, and it was a fine model, but just I like the look of that chunky turret armor. And the same thing, if I get it, we'll see what options are in the instructions to see what interests me. I am not doing Berlin Brigade, so don't even ask. This is the one part of Lincoln Length that's awkward.
At Loston Wallace 1396 said, I don't like the look of the square shapes. Berlin Brigade just isn't for me.
Well, it was the fact that it looked like the stone cut blocks for the buildings within the city. Because at the time, you got to remember, Berlin was in what was known as East Germany. Everyone thinks, oh, Berlin was cut in half along with the rest of Germany. No. Berlin was situated inside East Germany and also cut in half, along with Germany, but the border for the German division was further west. It was weird how that worked, but
1396 said, I get why they did it. I
yeah,
just don't dig it on my models. Lol.
it's just a pain in the butt to paint out too. I've seen some people do it and do it really well, but not something I want to try and replicate. Not at this point in time, anyway. Actually, I should probably just hit the outsides with the earth color and then dry brush the pads, because that's the only thing that's going to really turn black. So yeah, we're done with that for the time being. Let's get back to my terrible face painting.
At Roastin Wallace 1396 said it would require a lot of masking to do it right.
It would. That's why I'd rather do Swedish Splinter on a S-Tank before I do Berlin Brigade. Because at least the Swedish Splinter was hand-painted. So I can hand-paint it. Here's what we're looking at so far. Not too great. But that's all just the base painting. See if I can get him to pop a life a little. Pop alive. Pop to life. However you want to put it. Tripping over my own tongue these days. Come on, autofocus. Come on, autofocus. There you go. So I tried Vallejo's Flesh Wash. Wasn't too impressed with it. It wasn't very deep. So I'm gonna try Umber. Because I think that might sit better in the shadows. And you kind of gotta overdo it. That feels better. We'll see how it dries, though. But you can see how it's kind of pulling out more. And this is the quick and dirty way for me. And this size, it's really not worth spending hours trying to pull out 5 o'clock shadow and blend and all this. There's people that can do it. Even Shep Payne did it. If you're standing far enough away from somebody for them to be this size and this scale, you're really not going to see that much. Same thing with painting eyes in this scale. Don't bother. It's an exercise in futility. You're just going to piss yourself off.
Roastin Wallace 1396 said, as long as you get some contrast within the facial recesses.
It really is, Lawson. So, but I was thinking of something for my next paint up. And I was thinking a little bit, we were talking about Warhammer earlier. How about we stick it to Games Workshop and we do a pinup?
The Busy Builder, send a link. At the Busy Builder 4071, send a link.
Got a Tau pilot sitting on top of a drone. Wow. This new camera isn't as buggy in terms of the visuals, but damn the autofocus on it.
At Loston Wallace 1396 said, "Ah, cool."
Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna take a break real quick, walk around. It's been over an hour. And we'll be back in a moment. So grab a snack, grab a drink, walk around yourselves, and I'll be right back.
At Loston Wallace 1396 said, "I need to go get lunch. Enjoyed talking with you, man."
Alright, we're back. And the focus is screwed up again. What the fuck?
Studios just
There he is. We'll get the driver done first. That way we can get him installed, because I got to take the turret off to do him right. But I got to bring up some pictures. But what do you think of the idea of the Tau pinup as a figure to print up next?
RS_Studios asks what ya mean there he is. RS_Studios said I've been Jerry.
Type properly, can't you, yes? Just getting the next music up.
RS_Studios said playing a game I was.
But you've just been lurking. Need to pick up that picture that shows the helmet's really good. Really gooder. There we go. Okay.
RS_Studios said now cooking pizza I am.
Guys, I think we broke him. Trying to pop some details on the helmet. Might go with a little bit lighter mix to get the highlights of the wrinkles on the clothing. But just barely. Then we got to paint the ear pieces black because they're black plastic on a canvas inner. We'll come back to his face in a bit. I want that wash to have more time to dry. So in the meantime, we're just going over the figure with more stuff. So, come on, autofocus. Wow, it really doesn't like me today, does it? There. You can see how it's popping out the stuff on the earpieces and stuff. You're really only going to see his head and shoulders poking out. And that's even barely. But anybody who's worn BDUs knows that where the wrinkles are would always fade the same color no matter what color was printed beneath it. So even if the color was black or brown, or sand, it would still have that same light grayish green tone. Wow. Mike could just put this camera out the window too. What the fuck? See, dry brushing isn't a useless method. You just need to apply it properly. We're still going to go back and pluck some shadows, though, in the uniform. I'll have to see if I've got the spare change handy to get the files for that. I haven't been doing much printing lately. I've been trying to work on just regular kits. But I feel like I need to print something. One moment. Oh, fuck me, that hurt. Oh, that was loud. I had to pause that. I'd really like to know what it is that's pulling the focus away from the center of the camera. Gonna try and go and shape the faces a little bit. Since we put the wash on, we're gonna go back with the base color. See how thin I've got it. That'll work. I tried using the zoom feature. For some reason, when you zoom, it disables autofocus a little bit. Depending on how far in you zoom. Is everybody having a good weekend, though? Nothing too untoward happened for anyone? I might look and see if I have a set of goggles to put on him. Oof. The hell was that? Got the paint a little too thin, and Twitch just jabbed the brush too close for me. I don't mean the Twitch streaming service, I mean a hand twitch. Basically, I was trying to paint and also doing. That's alright, we can go back to the other two. So expect a final short for the M60 to be up tonight.
are almost done here. I'm still gluing mine together. Grinning face with sweat emoji.
No, there wasn't a lot to these, and I've had them assembled for a couple weeks now.
At the model student 20 said pizza good.
I don't know what we're doing for lunch or dinner here today. It's actually after lunchtime. But after dinner last night, I just want something hot and filling. That pissed me off last night.
Model student 20 asks, how was Chili's?
Absolute garbage. Everything was cold. Even the soup was so stringy that when I inhaled trying to get some of it even off the spoon, bacon went down my lungs. Like literally into my lung. I had to cough for like 5 minutes and I finally felt it come back up. So just, I don't know, just whatever the fuck happened last night was probably one of the most horrendous experiences I've had in a while, just trying to have a meal. It's like, what the fuck? I literally just wanted a hot cheeseburger. Nothing special about it, nothing crazy, no toppings, just a fucking hot cheeseburger and fries that I didn't have to waste time cooking. Note to self, I should just do it myself in the future because it's not worth it. Just 30 bucks wasted too.
Model student 20 said, I asked, grinning face with sweat emoji.
Yes, you did. That's okay. You didn't know. Well...
At the model student 20 said, no more Chili's, I guess, grinning face with sweat emoji.
Honestly, I'd say no. They've changed their branding. They've changed their marketing. I don't know, there's something... Like a lot of the other restaurants, it's how can you reheat Cisco food in different combinations? I didn't like it, you know. Because we've ordered from them before this change happened. It was hot, it was good, you know. Now this, and it's like, what the fuck? Because you're not ordering them through Uber or DoorDash, you're ordering it directly from them. So they must have their own delivery driver like Domino's, or they subcontract to Uber or whatever. But either way, I know for a fact the food was just left to sit too long after it was prepared before it got to us. That's the one I had to rewash. Okay. Don't mean to be grumpy, just... Oh, it really ticked me off. But when they did their customary follow-up survey, my wife let them have it, because they sent it to her email. And she's like, we don't know what's going on, but...
Said my gripe is fruit. Can't get a decent peach or an orange. All GMO garbage. Bananas seem not too bad, but nothing tastes like it should here in Canada.
You're not wrong. If it wasn't against the law, I'd just ship you one of my peaches, or one of my peach pits. We have peach trees in our backyard. They're not your standard peaches, like Georgia peaches. They're a smaller white peach. So the flesh in them is white, and they're twice as sweet. Moving to the country, gonna eat a lot of peaches. Yeah, like I said, if it wasn't, you know, against the law, I'd send you one. Oh, we plan on it. Because even if we don't eat a lot of them, wildlife does. And one thing I want on my property is birds and squirrels and other things. Even where I live now, you would think I'd be able to get, you know, at least squirrels. Nope. I have not seen a squirrel here yet. They're all over the place up in Ogden, but where I live, I see hawks, I see doves, magpies, crows, but fuck all for a simple squirrel. Wow, I am just batting negative 1,000 on this guy's face today. It's a good thing he's the ugly one. Look at that pin up real quick, see if it's got a part breakdown. It doesn't, but if she prints out big enough.
At the model student 20 said, me too, I live in city, but have a small pond and waterfall. With that in my garden, I get all kinds of feathered and furry friends hanging out.
Mm-hmm. I want chipmunks, I want squirrels, I want possums if we move to an area that has them up there, which I think there might be. Especially if we get wooded property. I want stuff where I could just throw a small bag of seed out my back door and just sit there and watch all day, you know? My father used to have that in Phoenix. He'd go to the feed store and buy just a seed brick, and he'd have everything in there. Roadrunners, squirrels, rabbits. Raccoons, I wouldn't mind them, but I'd rather not have them. They can be very destructive to property. I even told the wife that if we get a bobcat family that comes in, I won't try and keep them, but I'm gonna try and tame the babies. Like,
At the model student 20 said also our city is Squirrel Kingdom lol.
I just want it to feel like it's alive outside my house, where right now it doesn't. So I'm using a bit of Vallejo dark gray wash just to throw some shadows in around things.
At the model
It's a
student
cheat.
20 said our raccoons are too fat to cause trouble lol.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. And try and say raccoon, because that could get flagged. Just the C word, given today's environment. I just don't want something to be taken out of context and cause trouble. Yep, pretty ugly looking fellow, but we're getting somewhere.
The model student 20 said figs look good mate raccoons to be clear YouTube.
I just don't want to get in trouble with anything. I don't know who's doing what with the algorithms and stuff. Just being safe.
The model student 20 said we don't need trouble.
Not my best figure work, but given my eyes ain't as good as they used to be and my hands ain't as steady as they used to be, not terrible. And I've really slacked off on 35th scale figures a lot recently, so we're going to be working on getting back to better on those too. You can see how the dark gray wash just adds enough contrast into those shadows. It'll dry a lot lighter than it looks too, but it'll be just the right amount. Yeah, one thing I like about the crew I've got for the Abrams is it's definitely a mid-90s crew. It's when they started going over to the one-piece crew coverall with some form of flak or, ballistic vest, but they're still wearing the old shoulder mount pistol holster, which is exactly what I want for my Abrams.
Norway said you're making it look really good.
Thanks, Rat Pack. I'm trying. And how you doing? Is your house all warmed up? I know you were having a bit of trouble getting it comfy last time you were in. I'm glad you're still here with us. At least I screwed this figure and this figure up enough that they don't look exactly the same in the face.
Norway said yes, lol. It's lovely 72F now.
I think that's what we have our house set for as well. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call these guys done. I need to paint his little pedestal here black. I kind of wish I could have got a crew figure set in mop gear. It would be more appropriate for the exercise conditions. Tweezies, where are you? There you are. There we go. Stay just like that, please. Glue. Ah. But from the few reviews I've seen on that the 432, I'm actually kind of excited to build it. It's going to be interesting. You don't get a lot of modern British armor out there these days. Yeah, that looks right, peeking out right there. Trying to get him to set so his head's not against the back. And to be honest, he would have goggles on if driving in this condition. His eyes would be freezing off if he didn't. Another close look at the ice and snow. Nothing else I can really do there. Let's get his hands in the hatch. There we go. Touch of glue there. And a touch there. I shouldn't need much to keep him in place. Again, I've done better, especially recently, but I'm not gonna get all crazy about it. Shit. I forgot he was glued with regular cement, not super glue. Probably should have used super glue. Stay. There we go. I think he's still sitting up a little high, because if the turret rotates, it'll bonk his head. But we're not here to play with the models or rotate the turrets. We're just here to glue it all together. Stay. Yeah, that'll have to work for now. There she is. So we'll have a reel up tonight of the finished product with the crew and all the snow. Hopefully it shows up well on camera. I really like how the frost effect came out on the earth, or on the dirt. So, flat earth. I actually want cork brown for this. I want to start lighter. There's wood. Cork brown. Yeah. I want to start lighter with this earth tone. Is everybody having a pretty okay Sunday, though?
At the model student 20 said, me too, that's like posing Gundam. I don't do it, they get a stoic pose. Done. Grinning face with sweat emoji. She is looking very nice, good sir.
That's really what I do it for, too. Even the frame arm stuff that I do, it's not like I'm sitting there playing with them on the desk when the cameras aren't rolling. I get them, the kits are cool, they're fun, and then they go on the shelf. Gave the airbrush a really good cleaning this morning, too.
At the model student 20 said yes, they look good enough on the shelf.
Shelves of Doom. Doom!
Student 20 said just refreshed in case I was lagging.
So you missed me saying Doom?
At the model student 20 said refreshed. Student 20 said, sorry crazy finger today, rolling on the floor laughing emoji.
That's what she said! But you see how all this is really starting to come together color-wise?
model student 20 said love it when a plan comes together, grinning face with sweat emoji.
Yeah, it's only right when George Peppard says it. Sorry, Liam Neeson. You were not a good Hannibal. But this is the point where I've got to kind of stop on the Abrams. Not like a long-term stop, but I need to look through some of my books.
20 said right, but Liam's naked gun was funny though.
No, sorry, nope. Nope. I will die on that hill. So say we all. There should not have been a Naked Gun continuation. And yes, I know he wasn't trying to be Leslie Nielsen.
At the model student 20 said rolling on the floor laughing emoji.
Mainly for the fact that the Naked Gun, aside from the people that were in it that made it what it was, like Airplane, was really a product of its time. It felt very disjointedly out of place.
Said, is he the best actor or the worst actor? Rolling on the floor laughing emoji.
Honestly, if they could have gone back and cast another actor as Oscar Schindler, that movie probably would have been a million times better than it already was. But having an Irishman and an Englishman play two Germans, no thanks. Especially when they're trying to fake the accent.
At the model student 20 said police aren't funny anymore, unfortunately.
Well, it's not even the fact that police are funny anymore or not. Just Naked Gun and the kind of humor it had, and Police Squad. Because everybody thinks, oh, Naked Gun, movies.
20 said I loved Barney Miller.
But they don't realize the Police Squad TV show it really originated from. It was funny then, it's not as funny now, you know? Same thing with Airplane. Funny then, not so much now if you were to redo it. The comedy doesn't work like it used to.
At the model student 20 said Super Troopers killed me. Rolling on the floor laughing emoji.
Because that was more the, like... That's honestly what cops are really like. That's the sad thing. That was more the locker room humor amongst police. And the kind of ways they fuck with each other, too. Exaggerated, but not 100% wrong. Like, you could easily do a show about the Marines with that same kind of Super Troopers style um, humor, and it would be a hit. That's one thing people don't really get about the military is, yeah, everybody says we're professional this, professional that. They don't know how professionally stupid we can be. I mean, there are levels of ridiculousness that you will never see because the cameras were not allowed to be in the area.
At the model student 20 said, I just had the wildest dream. You're driving, you know. At the model student 20 said, rolling on the floor laughing emoji.
Like, even some of the stuff you're seeing on Reels and TikTok pales in comparison to the shit that actually happens.
Model student 20 said soldiers are nuts.
Oh, a lot of it is trying to pass the boredom. Like, everybody talks about the hurry up and wait, especially going like downrange or something. Hell, even waiting on a plane to go to Bulgaria, I had like a 5-hour downtime before the plane was loaded and I was able to take off. And it was just me and a bunch of cargo. It wasn't even like a bunch of troops. It was me and pallets. But hey, I was just told, go home, get a bag, be out here, or be back here by this time, and we'll run you out to the loading area. And there I was. Someone made chicken patties upstairs. And we're at our second break point, which is fine. When I get back... I don't even know what markings I want to put on this tank yet, so I can't even do the wash. I don't know. I'll think of something. Yeah, I gave it a good scrub this morning, so I'm paying extra attention to it now. Making sure it's good and clean. Alright. I'll be back. Just give me a pause to stretch, and be back in a minute. All right, back. So I'm gonna finish up the road wheels. I know I got some overspray on them. That's no big deal. That'll disappear. I just want to get the rubber on the edge showing. Get the track pads showing better. Probably go through the markings on the tank real quick too. Or I'll wait on that. I want to dig through. I could swear I've got some spare Abrams decals around here from other ones I've built in the past. And something a bit more unit appropriate. I don't know. Or we'll just say fudge it. And if I have to put it on the back burner for a little bit, that's fine. We've got the AAV to still work on. The LAVR to still work on. Like I said, I'm just kind of stuck on the LAVR. Mainly because I can't find any pictures of it in actual use, so I don't have anything to base my scene off of in terms of, like, okay, what do they put out around the vehicle? You know, do they have hard hats? Do they just wear their helmets? Do they not give a fuck?
20 said we are masters of our own density. Rolling on the floor, laughing emoji, thumbs up emoji.
Oh, jeez. McFly. Or are you saying I'm stupid? You know, I'm dense.
At the model student 20 said I'll do the husky for Feb.
Yeah, maybe I'll even review the LAV C2 in the meantime. Do an open box on it. And then use that as a chance to explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing for the build as well. Even if the track pads look a little ugly, once they get the dust wash and the earth effects over it, they'll start to look more normal. As you've seen me do many times on this channel, I make it ugly so I can make it look purty. I don't know how well you're going to see these, but I'm still painting them. They're on the inside. But the road this is on will most likely be paved, or at least a very hard-packed dirt road. Because I almost want to have... I need to look through the second volume. And I might have to see if there's something else on eBay that I can get later for it. So the Abrams might be put on hold for a little bit. Because I want to look for an appropriate Bosnian farm ruin.
20 said something I said many times through 30 years of contracting, rolling on the floor, laughing emoji.
You gotta make it ugly to make it look pretty? Yeah. And it's not wrong, is it? Who do we have here? Is that a Frank? Oh. Who is... That's an Alley! Hello, little monster!
The model student 20 said thumbs up emoji.
Ear itches. Be careful. Be careful, girl. We got a lot of models on the table right now. You don't need to be getting bitey on any of them. Nope. Yeah, I know. I love you, little monster. But that's exactly what you're being right now. Yeah. You're being a little monster. Yeah. I know, girl. You just want some attentions. Okay. Go on. She wanted to go back on the table.
_studios said, desk. Stream Elements said beware desk cat. They will conquer all with their mighty fluffy paws. All shall bow down when they purr.
And that is Allie. She's gotten a little better about it, but yeah, I don't have a box lid for her. Anything like that. But another reason I chose this tank crew is they don't have Molly gear. They've just got regular fragmentation vests. A lot of the newer kits for tank crew, everybody has Molly gear, which places it after 2003. Which, for what I want to do, I can't use that. It's getting harder and harder to find that 80s, 90s Alice gear, Cold War figure set. The only other tank crew I know of that is appropriate would be the Dragon one that came with their heavy armor Abrams back in the 90s. It's still out there, just I wanted something different than that crew. And I think the goat crew works, or sheep crew, whatever you want to call it. Plus the farmer and the sheep help to add a bit of flavor to it. I think the way he's dressed, he won't be too out of place for a Yugoslav farmer. I think the way he's dressed is more cultural and regional. He's supposed to be like an Afghani or Iraqi farmer, but I've seen pictures of Yugoslav ones dressed very similarly, because there's also a strong Muslim contingent in the area. Religiously, anyway. So that's what we're going with on that. Some of the pictures I've seen show that the Bosnian ones had boots instead of sandals. Really, that was the only main difference was the footwear. And his feet are so indistinctly molded that I think I can get away with painting him with boots. And he just looks like an old shepherd, you know. Of course, autofocus doesn't want to help me here. Indistinct enough that I can make it work. Definitely gonna have to have a desk clean off this afternoon, too. How are your figures coming? Should I have any... I need to see if there's any British infantry at rest. Especially 80s infantry. More figures to search for the 432. I honestly don't think anyone makes them. I also like to find the crew figures and stuff in plastic. Because usually when you find them in resin, they're out of production, or they could be recast, or they're out of people's price range or skill range. Whereas if you can find them in plastic, that means if someone else is inspired by what you're doing, they can also recreate it because they're probably still available. Where the resin ones most likely may not be. Or you don't have to risk dealing with sites like AliExpress and stuff like that. Not my neatest work. That's all right. I'll just keep telling myself that, and one day I'll believe it. Yeah, good enough. So my next mainstream day will be Friday. I'll be off that day. But like last week, I'll try and get at least one in probably around the Tuesday, Wednesday time frame. We'll see. It all really does depend on a balance of exertion at work and the weather. If we're going into an inversion, it's going to mean a lot of pressure headaches. And inversions are usually what happens around here when the temps get cold, but there's no fronts coming in to blow anything out. The cold air settles in the valley, and the high pressure is strong enough to keep anything from coming in and clearing it out. And then the smog settles and all the crap because there's nothing clearing out the air. We're probably going to end a little early today, just because I've reached the end of my goals and I didn't have really anything else planned. I'm going to crunch some numbers, see about getting that pin-up figure, and get her printing out too. And we'll print her out larger scale as well. Even the music's ending early today. Good timing. So we got the tracks done. We got the M60 finished. At least done enough that they can stay like that until I get the rest of the tank sorted. I'm going to see about digging out some decals. What else I've got to do to get this marked and ready. So yeah, we'll have another short up tonight. I'll do one on the M60, do a bench clean, and then probably do a open box review on the LAV C2 and get that posted up as well. So yeah, next stream should be Friday at the latest, if not Monday or Tuesday time frame. Or not Monday or Tuesday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And yeah, I'll see you all then. So thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks for the new follows and subs on YouTube as well. And everybody have a good day. See you later, and